Coming up on this final edition of MU Report, we will have full coverage of the fountain ceremony dedicated to the 75 people lost in the 1970 Marshall plane crash.
Plus, what happened when Marshall's 49th Annual International Festival took over the Big Sandy Superstore Arena. All in this edition of MU Report, which starts right now.
From the campus of Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. West Virginia's college news leader, the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications. This is MU Report.
Hello and welcome to MU Report. We are a student-produced newscast of the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications. I'm Jessica Patterson.
And I'm Sean Delancey. Now on to our top story. Every November 14th, Marshall and the Huntington community pause to honor those lost in the 1970 Marshall plane crash with the annual Memorial Fountain Ceremony. A record and standing room only crowd of over 3,000 people attended to honor the fallen team and 75 total lives lost in the crash. Student body E.J. Hassan and President Stephen J. Kopp spoke, as well as Chief of Staff Matt Turner. Remarks were read from Senator Joe Manchin and Representative Nick Rahal. Student athletes and Greek life students laid a rose for each of those lost. Keynote speaker John Proctor lost his parents in the crash and says the amount of love the community still shows is phenomenal.
It's a tremendous honor for all of us that Marshall and Huntington and all these young students that are my children's age are willing to come out and honor the people we lost. So it's very special.
The SGA says it was pleased with the turnout and the ceremony as a whole.
The fountain ceremony is important to many in the community, bringing hundreds of people to campus. But Josie Landgrave tells us about one group of people that wasn't in attendance.
For the first time in 43 years, a big piece of the Marshall community was not even in the city during the fountain ceremony. The day before, Marshall's football team packed up and headed to Oklahoma to take on the University of Tulsa the day of the memorial, leaving some students wishing the team did not have to go.
I'd rather have them here so they can be here with us. They represent the past, and they're a big part of the future, and it's good for them to be the ones to lay the roses around, because then that keeps them connected to the football players that died in the plane crash.
Even though the team was not able to physically be at the ceremony, they were able to watch it live in Oklahoma. Players also wore special helmets to pay tribute to the 75 lives lost.
This is our ceremony. It'll be on our helmets, and it'll be there for everybody to see.
We just want to pay our dues, show our respect to them.
Players say wearing the helmet gives them an opportunity to show the country what Marshall University is all about, all while giving them the extra determination to bring home a win.
We're going to be looking at that number all game. So it'll just be, I think a little added motivation knowing that, we see that number for the whole game, knowing what we're playing for and that this is a little larger than us. This is a big day in our history, and it'd be nothing better than just get a good road win just to commemorate what happened.
We'll have more motivation playing for those 75 players because, they're never going to be forgotten.
Josie Landgrave, MU Report.
Marshall defeated Tulsa 45-34 and has chosen to wear the commemorative helmets for the remainder of the season.
In Marshall's history department, one instructor not only helps students appreciate the past, he's lived it. Lewis Peak was an athletic trainer who was fortunate enough to have not been on that plane ride that never made it 43 years ago. And as Taylor Kirchwin reports, his brush with death always washes back for every memorial service.
It's unique for a history professor to be so much a living part of what he teaches.
In 1970, I was part of that team.
But when Lewis Peak passes around pieces of the past and shares his story, it's to connect students with their Marshall heritage.
I know they have no identification other than the fact, more recently with the movie that came out a few years back, most of them were very well aware of that. But to actually go and to hear people speak that were family members that had lost sons or brothers from that team, to meet those people, that makes it real.
As part of a normal rotation for trainers, it was Peak who was in charge of meeting the football team after the game for treatment. But at this very spot, all of that changed.
That was a real punch in the gut. I knew every member of that team. I had worked with those young men since August, right down to November the 14th. And so you get a close bond.
Many images from that night and weeks to follow will be some he'll never forget.
And to see the empty seats for the team in front of the stage that was set up there just really brought that home, to look out there and know that was for the team.
To Peak, history is more than just the memorization of dates and events. It's making something that happened years ago still have relevance today. Taylor Kirchwim, MU Report.
Moving off campus proved to be a good move for Marshall's annual International Festival. Cultures from all over the world filled the Big Sandy Superstore arena, and local restaurants filled the bellies of festival goers, as Kaylin Searles reports.
Marshall University's annual International Festival keeps growing. With the addition of the Into program, along with entertainment and cultural food, the celebration of its 50th anniversary is as good as gold.
I think it helps everybody to come here all together and to understand different cultures and different regions and different languages and countries, and to see that we all really can be one and we can all share where we're from and who we are, and just come and enjoy each other.
More than just good eats and live music, the night gave a chance for the greater Huntington area to bridge gaps between cultures, which international students say is essential to understanding each other.
And I think it's very important to know more about people who we study every day, because we need people. We need to know people, and we need to be friendly with everybody. It's a good thing.
I want the international students to be able to teach about their culture and to share their culture with Americans, because a lot of time they come here and you learn the American culture. And this, for us as international students, is a way to get back to the community.
Not only does this jubilation provide food and fun, it also gives the Marshall community a chance to travel around the world without ever leaving Huntington. Kaylin Searles, MU Report.
The Marshall campus has had several fire drills throughout the semester. These drills are designed to keep students prepared for emergencies.
The Marshall University Office of Environmental Health and Safety works around the clock to keep students and faculty safe on campus. One of the department's methods for this is using fire drills. Department officials say the drills are important because they help prepare the Marshall community for a real fire.
It's important to have fire drills because people, first of all, need to know how to get out in case of an emergency. A lot of times we become complacent. We don't think about, especially in residence halls, we don't think about if there's a fire in the middle of the night, that we know how to get out. It's important that we practice that.
These drills can happen at any time during the day. Students say these strange times have helped them know what to do in any situation.
The drills are helpful in the middle of the night because if there was an actual fire, we would have to make sure that we could hear the alarm. And even if we are in our pajamas, we still have to come outside. So I think that they are helpful.
Some students say the drills can be a hassle, especially when it means an early morning wake-up call.
Having it early in the morning prepared me for if we really had a fire. It was inconvenient, but it was probably the best time to have it.
This says the fire detectors on campus are tested twice a year, once before the start of each semester, to ensure the safety of the Marshall community, both in the classroom and in the residence halls.
Senior year can put a lot of stress on students with exams, term papers, and portfolios. Allison Wickline explains how some seniors have a slightly different experience when it comes to senior work.
While most students are prepping for final exams, some senior music students are prepping for tests of a different kind, music recitals. Senior Daniel Ricks says the recital is just one way music students differ from other students.
Whereas in other finals, the teacher gets to see the score, but this is a way of showing many, many people your work over your semester and over your time at your institution like Marshall.
Prepping for the recital involves meetings with professors, private practices, and meetings with an accompanist. Senior Sarah Riddle says practice really is what makes perfect.
In preparation for this senior recital, one of the pieces on it I've been working on since May.
Some of the other pieces I've been working on since summer, and some of them just this semester.
Music students say the recital gives them a real-world experience outside of the classes they usually take.
They're assessing our knowledge of how much we've learned in our other classes as well. So it really shows what we've learned in our music theory classes, music history classes, and how well we apply that to our instrument.
But all the hard work is worth it. When the seats are filled, the lights come up, and the music begins to play. Allison Wickline, MU Report.
Fans of Marshall football say the action on the field is the #1 thing on their minds during Saturday home games, but they may be overlooking something important. Marshall football is a staple of the Huntington community, but fans say tailgating beforehand is just as much a part of the experience as the snap of the football.
We started tailgating over at the old stadium with friends, and we've been tailgating ever since.
With tailgating being a piece of Marshall football tradition, many fans say they get their kids involved to ensure they keep green blood running in the family lines.
JD is 8 years old, and JD has been to every single home game since he's been born. First one being 18 days old at the Mark Snyder first game, green and white scrimmage.
I was tailgating about 4 years old. I'd come down here, my dad, he'd be in rare form. My mom, she'd be in rare form, you know. I'd watch them, I'd take care of them, and it was good. It was fun. I was young.
During the game, these lots are mostly empty, but that's just transferring the energy and the good times from the lot to the stadium. Fans both young and old in the thousands show up each game to show their support. They say they hope their enthusiasm for the team is passed to future generations. Tailgate parking lots can be found in all directions of the stadium, but with limited space, it is advised fans show up early to get a good spot.
After a winning streak in Canada, the Herd is ready to show what this young team can do on their home court. Kaylin Searles finds out just how fans are reacting to this new squad.
With an explosive senior and the addition of a true point guard, Herd fans are eager about this season. After the trip to Canada, fans say they started to see the bond players had and hope that continues going into the 2013-14 season.
I think it's exciting, all the new players, and of course the ones that are here that were here last year are good players. So I think if their attitude, you can have all the talent in the world, and if the attitude's wrong, you're not going to win.
The conference has been watered down and weakened a little bit, so we have an equal chance with everybody. It's kind of starting anew. Sometimes it's a little better to add by subtracting.
One name in particular is creating a lot of buzz in the stands, and fans can't seem to get enough of the new player who has filled a void in a critical position.
No, I'm really looking forward to seeing Kareem Canty. That's going to be the big thing. He's got to live up to the billing or it's not going to be a good year.
Kareem Canty, he's a true point guard. I think he's going to really help us be a quarterback for our offense, much like you have in football. I think it's going to play huge dividends for us this year.
Fans say the Herd can have a special season, but it will be up to senior Elijah Pittman to step into a leadership role.
I think he's on the right track already because he's got a new team, new attitude, and you know, I just really feel like what's past is past, and a new beginning, and things get turned around.
Herd supporters say new talent, teamwork, and overcoming adversity are essential to the Herd's game plan this season.
It's too early in the season to tell, but changing things up is always exciting. I think it's going to be pretty good. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Marshall opened up the season with an 85-69 win over South Carolina State. Kaylin Searles, MU Report.
The Herd will travel on the road to take on the Buccaneers from East Tennessee Saturday, November 30th.
That's all the time we have for this edition of MU Report. Join us again in 2014 on this West Virginia public broadcasting station. Our advisor is Dr. Chris Swindell. You can direct any questions to him at swindell@marshall.edu. I'm Sean Delancey.
And I'm Jessica Patterson. Have a great day.